Nature Strip. What's going to run second? I'm not sure if it'll be Sunlight. It'll be Daylight. Shoals out wide, moved up and ran to the lead here and burst away Shoals. From running to second, Secret Agenda, Mike a little late, but Shoals wins effortlessly.
Hartnell's lifting, the big boys come back in style and won it. Bonneville's holding on, and Bonneville has won a dramatic renewal.
Ben Asgari joins us from racing.com. Good morning, Ben. Big day ahead at Moonee Valley, Dato Tan Chin Nam Stakes featuring our very own Bonneville. What's the weather doing in Victoria?
Yeah, g'day Matt. Really looking forward to Dato Tan Chin Nam Stakes Day. The weather is picture perfect here in Melbourne this morning. Having got out of bed, it's clear blue skies, not a cloud in sight, and just in the world's most livable city, things are looking pretty good, unlike up in Sydney. It's raining again.
Yeah, I like that. The world's most livable city. Well, over here in New Zealand, we're going well. We'll all be cheering on a couple of horses today in Bonneville and Spanish Whisper. First of all, let's talk about Bonneville and the Dato Tan Chin Nam Stakes. Obviously, Hartnell lines up in here with a run under his belt. From what you've seen on paper, thoughts from everybody. What sort of assessment have you put together for us around the feature today?
Well, you guys will have to tell me. Murray Baker says that Bonneville will need a run, but I interviewed him leading into last year's race, and he said the same thing. So I'm not sure what to make of Bonneville in the race, whether she will actually need a run or whether we expect her to fire first up. But outside of her, I think it's a really nice race for Hartnell. I liked his effort first up in the PB Lawrence, where he had to duck back to the inferior inside section of the track. I think it probably cost him the win. And I think the performance was probably as strong as the same race 12 months ago when he actually won the race pretty impressively, but beat a significantly inferior field. So I'm not sure he came up at his very best in the autumn, so I'm forgiving of that preparation. But he looked 12 months ago, second up, he ran a huge race to finish second behind Humidor and Mackay Diva Stakes, where he was just too close to a fast speed. So I'm thinking he's come back more in that form. And for that reason, I think he's a horse to beat at weight for age. I like the fact that James Cummins has, rather than going to the very top level in the Mackay Diva, he's just held him back a notch this prep, and he's gone towards a Dato Tan. And I think it's astute placement. I think he's the horse to beat.
Are you surprised about the price around Night's Watch and how short it's come up at $3.70?
Not really. I do concede I think he's a touch under the odds, but not by a huge amount, because as impressive as he's been visually in his past couple of starts, it's been backed up on the clock, and I think he's destined for some pretty big things, this horse. I've got a really big opinion of him. It's not going to surprise me at all if he wins the race. The issue from a betting perspective is I don't think I can take that sort of a price to find out for him, particularly given... Yeah, he's a horse that's still got to prove himself in that grade. D Lane is suspended, his usual jockey who rode him so well last week, and misses the ride, and John Allen will take the ride here. So there's a bit against him, particularly if you're taking that sort of a price against proven weight for age gallopers.
Just want to go back to the first race on the card and have a look at that. There's a pretty smart one lining up here that's won 4 from 9 in the form of Nantali. $2.50 is the price that they've put up for it. Are you with the 2 in race 1?
I am. I think she's going to be one of the harder horses to beat on the day at Moonee Valley today. She won at the track and distance a couple of starts ago pretty impressively. Then went to Caulfield last start and rolled forward from a wider draw and led the field. I'm not sure she was suited. She still produced a pretty strong performance to narrowly go down. There was no match for the winner. I think she's clearly the horse to beat, and I do think she's going to be better suited ridden with just a little set, still on speed with a little bit of cover in this race. I do think there was one the market missed. Now, I'm not sure what price she's into now, but they were betting some double figures and upwards of $15 about Addison from the Hayes stable. Looks like she didn't do a lot first up, but she just found it a little bit sharp in a 1,400-metre event that was dominated on speed. But she's unbeaten second up. The blinkers go on, and with the rail back in the true position at Moonee Valley today, it may suit swoopers. So if you can still get that... those good odds on an each-way basis, I'd be having something to save on her on an each-way basis. Maybe 1x3 back Nantali to win and have a 1x3, but a bit more on the place for Addison.
Currently showing $10.270, a daughter of a very own Jimmy Shue. We're going to have a look at race number 7 now. We're going to take you to this market. for the Strathmore Community Bendigo Bank Handicap. This is over 1,200 metres. Race opened up a little bit now, Ben, with the scratching of Osborne Bulls.
Yeah, really interesting scratching. It's a race where there's been a few deductions from the early price. The horse that I like here in Iconoclasm, I thought he was really good first up on a day at Moonee Valley. At the same track and distance he tackles here, where he's beaten by Marius and Tulip, but it was a race. They didn't go overly quickly in the first 400 to 600 metres, and they rocketed home in some sizzling sectionals. They all sort of held their positions. I thought his performance was really good, and I think the way the Weir stable's been of late, that the way horses are improving from their first to second up run, he'll take plenty of benefit out of that run. And as opposed to last start, where you probably didn't want to be in the position he was, I think he'll get a similar run today, rail back in the true position. I think it's really going to suit this horse, and he's the one suited on the speed map. A horse like Land of Plenty, his stablemate, and even Mr. Sneaky, they may be too far back in this race, particularly Mr. Sneaky from an inside draw. That might not work out for them on the speed map. I think Iconoclasm's the horse really suited by the map today.
Ben, I'm going to take you to the last race, the 9th on the card now, and what we'd call a dart race here in New Zealand. Throw the dart and find one. Have you made it a little bit easier for us?
Well, hopefully. There's a horse here I think the market's missed a little at double figures in Rhythm to Spare. He's a bit of an old-timer who goes around every second week, it seems like, but geez, just about going as well as he ever has if his last couple of starts are any guide. 2 starts ago at Moonee Valley, behind Call Me Handsome, who of course has subsequently won again a couple of starts later at stakes level. He was one of the only horses on the day to make significant ground from the back of the field. He then was caught wide against the pattern on the day again behind the Answer My Friend, but he kept coming to the line. He didn't finish far away at all from Mossendale on the line, despite having a tougher run and having the pattern against him. And Mossendale was a significantly shorter price in this race. So on an each-way basis, I think Rhythm to Spare in the last represents a bit of value, particularly if the track is playing traditionally Moonee Valley rail true and favouring those swoopers.
What about your suggested bets today, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going with a win aboard Nantali in the first, each way Addison in the same race. I like Hartnell to win in the feature, the Darto Tan. Maybe not so much up each way anymore for Iconoclasm with the scratching of Osborne Bulls. Maybe he's more of a win bet, but I like Iconoclasm, and in the last Rhythm to Spare each way.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for your time this morning on the Punters Lounge. We'll join you next week.
Yeah, good punting, everyone. Thanks for having me.